Today, we're talking about the Diddy and Cassie lawsuit and settlement. What happened? Also, Drake drops Scary Hours 3, and Andre 3000 drops the Flute album. Stay tuned.
Arkatech Beatz.
What's up, everybody? It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. We are your hosts, platinum producers, Arkatech Beatz. I'm Juggernaut.
I am Mike Drama D.
And we make the super duper group, Arkatech Beatz. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. Make sure you like, commenting, and subscribing so that you can get those updates and notifications. And today, well, this week has just been crazy, right? It's been a crazy week. But, we're talking about maybe like 3 days ago now, we get the Diddy and Cassie lawsuit. 24 hours later, we get a settlement. Now we're getting reports that the settlement was just crazy. And we want to just kind of talk about it like one, we want to make sure that artists are protecting themselves. I think that's probably the most important thing for us to basically relay in this message here, is we want artists to put themselves in a position where they can be protected, right? So if you're on the female side, we want to make sure that you're being protected. And then if you're a male in this business, there's also things that you have to watch out for when it comes to this type of situation. But what's your take on this thing, cuz? And man, it's been ridiculous week, like straight up and down.
Well, this I'm going to say entertainment business because it encompasses the film industry as also.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, this business has always preyed on people trying to get into this business, or preyed on, upcoming artists or artists struggling or whatever it may be. It preys on that. It preys on you being desperate, or you wanting or desiring fame and, luxury. And because of that, a lot of people get caught out there. And this has been going on forever. Hollywood, big time directors promising young women, models, that they could get into this movie or they could be made a star, and then, meet them in the hotel room at the middle of the night for so-called casting, and things go a different way. It happens. And, you got to be very careful and very smart on the way you handle things, the way you portray yourself and the moves and you decide to make. You have to look at the whole situation and tell yourself, am I putting myself in a bad situation by agreeing to certain things? And I'm not saying that it's the fault of the victim, but we also have to make sure that we're doing the best that we can in playing defense. When these opportunities, you have to look at them and say, okay, is there a string attached to this opportunity? What do I have to do? Where do I have to go? What am I giving up? You got to be very mindful of your surroundings and your environments and how you are being portrayed. So it's an area of discussion that has been going on forever. And unfortunately, people are still getting caught out there and find themselves in, hot seat, from a victim level, from the other side of the table, on all levels. So this is not anything new. If you've been in the music business, you've been in the entertainment, the film world, this isn't anything new. Accusations, whether it's the accusations is true or false, this is nothing new. So it's like, another day in the entertainment world, unfortunately.
Yeah, this thing, you and I had a chance to kind of review the initial lawsuit, and it's trigger warning, salacious type stuff. I don't even want to talk about what's encompassing the lawsuit, because at this point it's settled. But you know, my issue with this stuff is, honestly, again, to your point, I think artists do have to make sure that they're protecting themselves. And I want to put this out there. This is a business of excess. This is a business that's really kind of designed to destroy artists. If I'm gonna be 100% honest, it's designed to take your art, take your talents, take
everything out of you.
Yep, take all of that out of you and leave you as a shell of yourself.
Yeah,
and you have to make sure that you're moving really diligently in this type of situation. So, you put it really excellently when you said that artists are being preyed on. Like, this has always been the nature of this entertainment business. This is what happens in this entertainment business, and people have to be diligent in making sure that they understand that there is, what you said, make sure there's no strings attached. This is a business where you don't get something for free. Be very very clear of that. Like, if someone is offering you something for free, in most cases, you have to kind of make sure that there is not some sort of hidden agenda that's taking place. And in a lot of times, those hidden agendas, especially when it comes to young ladies and young men, those things are sometimes come across as being sexual in nature. Like, that's just the nature of this game. And I want people to really make sure that they're understanding that, to make sure that they can protect themselves. If you find yourself in this situation where, you're being preyed upon, the best thing that I can always suggest is to kind of make a decision to whether or not you really want to be a part of that. Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that are, conflict of interest.
Yeah.
As we had looked through the complaint, there's a lot of things that were just conflict of interest. And when things are conflict of interest, for the most part, it's overpowering you. It puts you at a very, very strong disadvantage. And when you let go of any type of power, if you let go of any of your rights, you subject yourself to being prey, and you subject for someone else controlling the narrative, controlling the deal, controlling, in some cases, your livelihood, your life, and you have to be very mindful of what you are agreeing to. And we're going to talk about the lawyers in a second, because that's a whole nother spin on this. But you have to really know what you're agreeing to. You have to know what you're agreeing to and how it can go wrong, and work on what do you got to do to protect yourself. If you're going into a hotel room at 3 a.m. to meet with someone, you really have to think about that.
Yeah.
You have to think about it being offered champagne at 3 a.m. and it's you and one other individual. What are their intentions? Is this a record deal, or is this something else? Maybe you shouldn't go by yourself. Maybe you shouldn't go at all. Like, you have to ask yourself these questions. What are you willing to give up? And we're being real. This, people don't want to talk about this, but it needs to be you need to be spoken on before it reaches to this level. Before it's too late. Before somebody gets hurt. Before somebody is in an area or in a situation where they can't bounce back from.
And this like I said, the lawsuit is just crazy in itself. The reports as of right now, when we're recording this, the reports of a settlement are coming out, and they're talking about $100 million settlement, when the initial lawsuit was only $30 million. They said basically by the time the lawsuit complaint broke the internet, it made it so that your man had no leverage. Like, he had absolutely no leverage. And then when you look at the complaint itself, it basically had everybody. It had him personally. It had Bad Boy Entertainment, Bad Boy Records. It also put Sony Records in, not Sony, but Epic Records, which is a subsidiary of Sony.
Yeah.
Home Enterprises, and DOE Corps, and some other situations. But by the time you add all of those defendants into the situation, there's no wonder it got resolved in 24 hours. But my issue is, and I think you and I talked about this off camera, where's the counsel at? If you're on Diddy's side, where's the counsel at? Because obviously it looks like she made a request for money because she was going to basically do a tell-all book. And they already gave his team the $30 million situation, because initially the response was it was a shakedown for money. So if you look at this situation, that she made a demand, she wanted $30 million. Excuse me. She made a demand, she wanted the $30 million, so she's going to release a tell-all book. What happened to the counsel? Wasn't the counsel supposed to say, hey, you was in a relationship with her publicly, 10 years, is there any viability to what may be coming out?
Right.
And if there's viability to what may be coming out, and because you got all these other stuff going on with DeLeon and all these other stuff going on with the other liquor situation, and you got different business ventures, and you got a brand that you have to manage, at what point did the attorneys actually come in and say, okay, you know what, give her the money, right? Give her what she's asking for, so whether or not you did or what you didn't do, we're not alleging anything, but to protect your brand image and to protect everything, give her this money, versus now this all becomes public record.
And then you still got to give, and then you got to triple up on the money.
And you got to triple up on the money.
Like, why? Why wait? Why wait?
Why wait? And to me, it seems like it's a play that with some of the attorneys, where they'd be like, okay, well, he probably thought he's going to take it to trial and run up a bill on him or something. Like, she knew where the bodies was buried. I don't know why they would even take the chance. Like, so to me, it's like it's that thing that you and I talk about with the counsels, man. Folks, even though you can have counsel, you can still get screwed, man.
Yeah.
Like
make a bad move.
You can make a bad move. And it's a bad move. And I think it's a bad move that he should have just gave her the bread if he didn't want the situation to come out, and now it's out, alleged, you don't know if it's true or not, but you can't take it back.
You can't take it back. You can't put the genie back into the lamp. Like, it's a done situation. Now the worst part of it is that it sets the ground, it sets the tone for others who may want to jump on the bandwagon and start making the accusations. Yeah. Now it sets the tone for that. Like, oh, she got $100 million.
I got to pay everybody. You got to pay everybody.
And then on top of that, now what they're saying, he's no longer considered a billionaire. Did that hit his overall?
It's saying it's going to hit his net worth. But again, these are all alleged reports. These are all things we don't know if it's true or not. We don't know. But the main thing that what I'm looking at this here is that this is a horrible, horrible look, right? And let's be clear, she didn't go for him criminally. I think all of that statute of limitations, most of that has passed. I don't think that the New York Attorney General is going to even pursue anything for him criminally. So this has all been about civil, and people have to be clear that civil means it's all about she wanted to make sure that she got some sort of payout for some situation. So this is all a civil action, which basically is about monetary resolution.
You have to also, you also have to think about the timing of this. Where you got all these other things going around him. The Tupac situation. Yeah. That's in the air. That's not fully, out the way. And then you got the liquor issue going on. So, the timing of this was pretty interesting, and it makes me even think, man, they should have got rid of this way before it got this far. with
Some people are saying that the filing took place on the anniversary of Kim Porter's death, or somewhere close to it. It's all of it is weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, all of it is a very, very weird type of situation. But again, the reason why we're even talking about it is, again, you have two different situations that people have to look at. If you're an artist, you have to protect yourself from, you know, the institution itself. That's the first thing. Now, if you're an artist now who's turned into the institution, because some artists open labels and sign other artists and so forth and so on. This is also a lesson to you guys, because a lot of times guys sign artists and then want to become romantically involved with the artists or the people that they wind up signing, right?
Yeah.
Please be clear that if you're going to do that, you're putting yourself at risk, because the dynamics, if you've ever been into a corporate situation and the dynamics of harassment, especially when we talk about sexual harassment, hostile work environment, etc., a person that's in management, leadership, etc., person who runs a situation, anytime he dates anyone that's below him, is always put into what they call this power dynamic of quid pro quo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that create this situation where 9 times out of 10 you're going to lose if the relationship goes awry and the person wants to say, hey, it wasn't consensual, or I got into it because it was because of, you know, I was afraid I was going to lose my employment or my deal, or, you know, because they were asked that, you know, get against it. So that's the one level. On the next level, if you're on the other side, you know, as the artist, you know, you have to make sure that you're putting out clear lines and making sure that you're not in a situation where you can be preyed upon. And if you feel that that's going to happen, again, to your point, what you said earlier, you have to make a decision if that's what you really want to do, if it's worth it to you, if that's what you're willing to sacrifice, if that's what you're willing to give up in order to stay in that situation.
It's also sad because there are people who just want attention, you know, and I'm not saying that this is that situation, but there are people in this business, they don't want to be greats. They don't want, you know, to be a successful artist. They don't want to put in the work. They just want attention. So you have to be mindful. If you're the company, you have to be mindful of these type of artists preying on you, you know, getting yourself wrapped up in a certain type of relationship that all it is going to destroy or damage your brand, you know. So it goes both ways, you know. Yeah, you have these companies that are preying on the artists, but there are artists that also prey for opportunities. They prey on bigger artists, they prey on companies, they do all of these things for the opportunity. So it goes both ways, and each side has to protect themselves. They have to make sure that they are fully aware of the playing field and what's at risk. What are they willing to give up? What are they willing to do? But the most important thing is have boundaries. You got to set boundaries for yourself. What are you willing to do, or what you're not willing to do? And you have to work and move on that. You know, I will not have meetings at certain hours of the night at hotel rooms in some area somewhere by myself. No. I will not be drinking alcohol, you know, in some back area somewhere by myself, you know, thinking I'm going to get a record deal by doing this. There's certain standards you have to have in order to kind of relieve some of these things. Because if you don't have any standards or morals or any type of backbone in this game, it's going to eat you alive. This business uses drugs, uses alcohol, uses all sorts of tricks and trades to get you to do things you don't want to do.
I can't say it any better than that. I've always had that disposition where I've said that this is a business that's designed to eat you alive, man. We've said that, you know, and we've said it on content. That's the whole reason why we even started the platform. It's to make people to be able to avoid those type of pitfalls. Like, this type of stuff out here is very real, you know. It's a business of excess. You know, that's what it is. So even though if it's not excess alcohol, it's excess drugs. If it's not excess drugs, it's excess, you know, promiscuity. Like you got a lot of different situations that folks are dealing with, like, and it gets in the way of the art. Some people feel like those things enhance the art. No judgment here, but at the same time, you got to be understanding what you're willing to deal with, what you're not willing to deal with. But this situation for right now, they've basically resolved it amicably, right? They've basically they've solved it, But the cat is out the bag. I expect a ton of lawsuits to come behind that, and again, this could also be another play by the attorneys, because once he gets all these other lawsuits coming in, he has to defend them, and he has basically an endless tab of legal fees.
Yeah. If they decide to pull a Cosby on him, this
he's going to be dealing with accusations and lawsuits
left and right. And
these folks are going to go back as far as 20 years to do what they got to do. He may mess around and have to pull a Russell Simmons, sell everything, and move out of the country. I ain't even gonna hold you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, and I really hope that the stuff isn't as bad as it is. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like I feel like his counsel have set him up to be basically to be sucked dry.
Yeah. Like, you gotta protect your brand, man, at all costs. Protect your brand.
Protect your brand at all costs.
Of course.
This stuff should have never, and I'm sure she probably was making requests for years for money. I'm sure of it. Like, it just this ain't just happen overnight. I know this can't just happen overnight. I'm sure that there's been requests for certain things, Puff, whatever, and then I think it just kind of snowballed and get to this point. The attorney should have nipped this thing in the bud, because now, not only the settlement that he paid her out, whatever that number looks like, but now you're going to be on the hook for all these other people, because this complaint, it entails so many different people that may have been involved.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Look,
and it's like it's showing like so many other third party people that could have been involved in this situation. What if they decide to turn and want to talk and want to do it, and they want to do tell all? Like, you're gonna be paying everybody, bro. They're gonna drain you dry.
If this is actually true and factual, again, it has opened up the floodgates for third party, other individuals, other potential victims. It could be a free for all, because my big thing is, if this is true, if these allegations are true, there are a lot of people involved in keeping this thing together. Like, you can't have these wild parties and have all these wild things happening without a number of people in position to make sure this money train or this whole thing goes the way it goes. There are receipts, things are paid for, whether it's travel, whether it's hotels, whether it's individuals. Like, there's receipts somewhere. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of people involved. So for this to be happening with so many individuals and it to be kept quiet, it makes me think of a whole lot of things. Either A, it didn't happen,
right,
or B, because it's just too many people involved to keep everybody quiet. B, a lot of people are being paid and kept quiet. Or C, people are just scared as hell to keep, not to open their mouth.
That could be a whole other situation. I'm leaning toward C and B. I'm leaning toward that, but
hey,
it's all alleged.
Disclaimer: these are all alleged.
It's all alleged. We don't know if it's true.
Don't.
We don't know what's going on with this situation. But I would say this. Yo, get rid of that attorney, yo.
Look,
and I know that might be. I think isn't that the cat that got him off the shooting with Sean.
I don't know.
Because I think Benjamin Bradford. I think Bradford used to represent Gotti. Man, am I tripping?
We have these talks on what's going on in the music industry also, to grab the lesson.
Yeah.
We grab the lesson and dissect the lesson and turn it into the do's and don'ts. And when you're in this music business, there's a lot of do's and don'ts. And sometimes the do's and don'ts, they blend into each other, or they get grayed out. When you come in this business, you gotta stand for something. You gotta tell yourself, you know what, I'm not risking my morals for this or for that. But if that's something that you feel fine with, then you're going to have a rough time in this business. This business will chew you up and use you, take advantage of you, and spit you out with you having nothing left.
I'm taking a quick look at the attorney, and I'm just
like, think about all of those models that have flown out to LA with the hopes of being the next movie star, only to be taken advantage of by some sleazy director somewhere that said that they were, in charge of promoting a movie or whatever, and it never happened. And then they had their way with these potential, and come to find out the producer or the so-called sleazy director doesn't have the pull or doesn't even have the connects to make it happen. Happens in Hollywood a lot, and the same thing happens in the music business.
It's crazy, man. People got to protect themselves.
They got to take advantage of it, man. And the thing is, you could be taken advantage of for any number of things. It could be financial, or it could be a virginity.
Sexuality situation, right?
It could be taken advantage for anything, and you could be left. You could be robbed of your talents. You could be robbed of your content, your music. You can be robbed of your soul. You can be robbed of, it's open season when it comes to this music business. So, and I don't mean to sound so doom and gloom and sound so scary, but this is the music business. This is the entertainment business, and you have to protect yourself
at all times. At all times, Yeah, I don't really have too much more to add on this. I was just trying to take a look at this attorney real quick to see what the notifications. And he did represent him in the 99 shooting. Yeah, the illegal weapon and bribery charges. So he got him off that situation, but it looks like everything else after, like a lot of the stuff after this, he's been taking a lot of L's. Like he represented Harvey Weinstein, Jacob the Jeweler, Dinesh D'Souza. Like all these people went to jail, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at this like, wait a minute, like these people went to jail, bro. So I'm not really sold on this real quick, but
he may need to consider some new legal counsel.
Yeah, because he dropped the ball on this one, and he dropped the ball on this one. And again, this is not me trying to say, hey, this is not me trying to say if he did it or he didn't do something. I'm just talking from a great legal standpoint. Like I'm not talking from a situation like criminality. That's up for the attorney general and those folks to decide.
Right.
I'm just looking at the situation from if you are a business who wanted to protect his interests or wanted to protect your brand interest, this wasn't the way to do it.
Right.
Like this wasn't the way to do it. But if you were on the other side, meaning if you were a person that was basically looking to be rewarded civilly, then it was the way to do it. Was to put forth your demand, have your leverage, and if they call your bluff, then you do what you got to do. So on her side, it's played masterfully, in terms of her attorney did it the right way.
Right.
They get what they needed to get and more. So she's set for life with her and her kids, after this.
Yeah, I hope it. I mean, there's nothing that could take away. Again, if this is true, there's nothing that takes away from the years of trauma.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and again, if this is true, but hopefully that the settlement will give us some small piece of step in the right direction. moving forward. You know, this stuff shouldn't happen. You know, this stuff shouldn't happen. If it's true, it shouldn't happen. And, you know, we all have to protect ourselves, you know, and be more diligent in this business or in life.
And this is the thing too, Mike, you know, because, you know, we have kids and, you know, I have a daughter and, you know, just that's, you know, interested in this business because of what we do and, you know, our immediate family, what they do.
Right.
And, you know, we have to provide the structure and have to provide the guidance to make sure that they're not naive in this type of situation. And I think what happens is that if your kids are not exposed to certain things, and they can get swooped up in the lifestyle of what this business can offer. And if you haven't experienced certain things, like
you go fall pretty fast and quickly.
Yeah,
the fast cars, the walking through VIP, the music playing, they shouting you out entering the building, the bottle service, the look of respect, and the whole thing, like the late night parties and the like, it can be overwhelming.
You see,
it could be like the power, like the money, just being paid for, the fancy restaurant, just that lifestyle. Yeah. If you're not careful, man, you could end up just losing it all as a slave to trying to keep up with that. You know, you'll do anything for that. You'll do anything to live that lifestyle, that's quote unquote freedom, to be a part of that life. And it's a dangerous drug in itself to try and chase.
Yo, bro, it's so crazy. Like if you haven't lived it, if people don't understand the situation, if you haven't felt it on certain degrees, and there are varying degrees to this thing. There are low levels of this thing, you know, and then you're talking about highest level. If you're talking Diddy and them, this is high level type situation.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine the level of intimidation and being overwhelmed in those kind of spaces, and not wanting it to end in some cases.
Yeah.
You know, and doing whatever you can do to not let it end, because it's like, you know, especially if you come from humble means or if you come from extreme poverty, you don't want to go back to that.
Yeah, you don't want to go back to that. This is like that lifestyle is exciting. But it's all an illusion, you know, and it will rob you. If you're not careful, it can rob you of everything that you have and everything that you are.
Crazy, man. It's the Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. So we're going to pivot real quick. Drake
Your music
did Scary Hours 3. Ross and Meek came out with something too. I didn't put that in the intro, but I probably should have. And then Andre got the Flute album.
What you want to talk about first?
Well, because we had talked about the Drake situation when we were saying how the Joe Button was on his neck, talking about how the album was trash, and then he added the Scary Hours 3 to it, man. And I think
how many more songs was it?
I believe it's 6.
6?
Hold on, make sure. I don't want to speak. I believe it's 6. And yeah, it's definitely from what I heard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's what they want.
So this is what we wanted.
Yeah,
this is what we wanted. We wanted that lyricism. We wanted him to talk that talk.
That Red Button record.
Whew. It's 6 songs. I was about 6 songs. He needed to do this. We knew he had it in him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the reason why he got such vitriol, was because we all knew that he had the ability. We know that he has the ability. He's the best right now. I'm not taking away from him. He is probably the best artist for hip hop right now. Number one guy. Cole coming in a close second. This guy could rap. We know that this guy could rap. And we know this guy can make songs.
Mm-hmm.
Just put it on the one body of work, bro. Like that's all we asking, bro. Like just put it on one body of work, bro.
Yeah.
That's it. I want to be able to say your name, you know, with the biggies, with the prodigies, with the, you know what I mean, with the Nas's, with the Jay-Z's. I want to be able to say that, but we have to get a balanced body of work that has this. It has to have this. You know, I would also tell him, hey, don't do nothing more than 10 songs anymore. Real talk. All that 15, 20 songs, nah. 10 songs. If he had 10 songs and with this 6th song and four of the best songs from All the Dogs, he'd have had a classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
Kill all the noise.
Yep. Put 2 skits in, it'll feel like 12 selections.
Kill the noise. Like that's what the camp is supposed to be telling them. Like, listen, you're supposed to shorten these projects so that people can get more bang for their buck and leave them salivate. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
No? And half of the album, we're gonna spit that spit. The other half of the album, we're gonna be a little bit more, you know, melodic, more song driven.
Right.
Blend the playlist together the right way, find the right production balance. And bro, that's your classic album. Now he may not be doing that for, you know, it may be by design, like I said, to give yourself more longevity. Because the better you make the total project, you got to keep raising the bar. So he may be doing it on purpose. I don't think so. But at the end of the day, this 6 songs for this scary Hours 3 is phenomenal. I applaud him, and I want to just, you know, I'm just glad that he's given the folks. I'm glad that he listened to the criticism and kind of just answered it.
Yeah.
Kind of like, fuck you, here, all that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just take that, talk some shit now. Can't say shit. It is what it is.
But Button didn't say anything, did he?
Oh, Joe Button's silent right now. But I think it has a lot to do with, you know, recently, you know, your man was attacked.
I heard.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot of layers to this thing. So I think he's really trying to watch how are you talking right now.
Andre 3000.
Oh, shit.
I've watched some of his interviews, and he's a very interesting person, very interesting individual from what I'm gathering. And it seems like he's a person that really just wants to do things based on feelings alone. You know, he does it. If it doesn't feel a certain way, then he ain't doing it. You know, there's no working towards it. There's no, let me see if we can make this happen. It's more of a, this doesn't feel right, or this doesn't feel, it's not coming to me, then I'm leaving it alone and doing something else.
What do you think about that, man? I feel like there's 2 levels of creativity, because, you know, there are certain books that I used to read that talk about creativity and productivity. And they say basically, if you're waiting for inspiration to hit, it never comes. All right. So a lot of folks try to work through that feeling of, you know, I don't feel like doing it. So you have some of your best artists, writers, so forth and so on, who basically just take on a daily work cadence of creating art, and you know, whatever comes, but you know, it puts you into the situation where you're not waiting for inspiration, you know? And for him, some of the interviews that I saw, which I kind of don't like, is he's very, very tied to this ageism in rap. Yeah. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I feel like even in his search for normalcy, there's something, there's a story to be told there, right? Why do you feel that you should be treated normal? Why do you feel that fame isn't normal? Like, put that in song.
Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, like, why is it that we feel like that? And I feel like also he may be being handcuffed to the speaker box Love Below numbers and having to compete with the Diamond album. And I don't think you should ever think about it that way. I think you should take the approach that Nas takes. I think a lot of these artists, these legacy artists, these guys that are geniuses, these guys that shape and form culture, should take the approach that Nas takes. Fuck the numbers.
Yeah.
Fuck the pressure of trying to create, whatever. Now, some people will say the Flute album is that, right? And just put out what you desire to put out, But I think in his case, it's kind of done with rap, and it's just really unfortunate to me as a fan that that he's done with it so soon, because I feel like he hasn't done anything in 15 years, so.
It feels
I feel like he missed out some prime years on doing it.
Yeah, it feels like there is so much that's not told. Like, there's so much history there since all of those other albums, because we haven't really got his story of just life. From his relationship with, Big Boy.
Yeah.
All the way to these albums, to his style, the way he dresses, to the way he was brought up or grown up, or his transition from this music to this type of like from a fan, it looks like there's just so much material to talk about. So why aren't you giving us the obvious?
He doesn't feel like it's important.
Well, to him, it may not feel that important, but for the rest of the world, I think, there's so much we still don't know about him, and for him to come this way, it's also like, what about the growth? Everything you're talking about in the interview, you could put that in some raps.
Real talk.
But
that's what I said in my head when I watched his interviews.
Yeah, and for him to say, he's at the age that he is, and he's not sure what to talk about, or the colonoscopy and this and that. It's just like, okay, talk about that too. Like there's so much to talk about, and there's so much jewels that could be given. I think maybe he's setting us up. I don't know.
I hope so. I felt that it was a troll. I felt like it was a marketing troll event to see what the temperature was. Kind of like, let me see if they're gonna bite on this.
But what's funny? You did say something off camera that you were wondering if he's just trying to sabotage his career so that he could just go off and just live his life. But the funny thing is that a good majority of his fans are still rocking with him. People understand. We're in a state of. Funny thing is, we're in a time of music where a lot of older artists, or consumers, right? We do want to hear some raps, but we also want some easy listening.
Right.
Right. As an adult with responsibilities, businesses, entrepreneurship, busy life, there are moments where you don't want to hear rap. You do want to hear something a little more instrumental, musical, something to like. That's why all of those playlists with the instrumental music and study music or sleep music or lo-fi music, they do very well. Because sometimes you don't want to hear any words, you don't want to hear any raps. You just want to hear some melodies. You're driving late at night from a hard day of hustling or running around, grinding, work, whatever it is. and you just want to hear some instrumentation just to kind of like reset your mind. You know, some people are getting involved in yoga, and because we're in an era of such mental issues, you kind of want to I want to zone out and listen to something that's a little bit more peaceful. I want to catch a vibe. So for him to even do this, he's still in the right direction, but it still has to be good. You know what I'm saying? He's still going to be judged. People are still going to say, well, is this good? Is this... Because people do gravitate to this music. People do like it.
I feel like for him, and if this podcast ever reaches him, like my brother, like your music, you know, changes or saves the people's lives, bro. And and what I would hope is that he doesn't feel like what he offers now, what he could offer, is so insignificant. I don't think that's the case. I think he's underestimating his gift.
Absolutely.
You know, so, you know, and I mean, you may not want that responsibility. I get that too.
Yeah.
What I mean, like, you may not want that responsibility of, you know, people living and dying to your music. You may not want that, but you know, it took me a while to understand that as well, because sometimes you'll see people comment and say, "Hey, this particular song that you guys did got me through this," or "This song helped me through this," or "I listened to this song through college. It got me through this. It got me through that." And then that's when you start to realize, like, yo, the power of music is it has so many different levels. Artists like him, an artist like him, the culture needs.
Desperately.
You know, the culture needs a voice like his now, a grounded voice now, and I don't think he realizes that. You know, and who's to say that if you were more active, that maybe we would have been able to kind of curtail the wave of ignorant music that did come, because you would have inspired artists to do better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to that, and I think that's also the reason why you see people like Nas and they keep going. It's just so they can kind of, if these guys fall back, then the ignorance takes over.
Right.
You know, so these guys have to kind of continue to inspire. This is why, you know, heavy is the crown for a Drake, heavy is the crown for a Kendrick, heavy is the crown for a J. Cole. Like, without you guys being able to balance the landscape, the music just continues to go into a decline or goes into an ignorant state that we can't come back from. You know what I mean? So you guys have a responsibility with your gifts, you know, to a community that's kind of, you know, cultured by this music. That's why they call it hip hop culture. You know what I mean? So,
those guys are already the popular artists, so that's why they also have that burden. You know, I keep hearing, "Oh, there's already good music out. You just gotta search and find it." There's a lot of that going on the internet. You gotta search and find it. Oh, there's good music everywhere. There's a great time for music. You just gotta search for it. And I think a lot of that is true. But at the same time, I also think it's a cop-out, because my whole issue is that there's certain companies, there's certain agendas are pushing certain music forward, and they're not promoting or pushing some of the other kinds of music. So that's why certain music will always be in your face. Now, when you have someone like a J. Cole who's popular, when you got someone like an Andre 3000 who's popular, when you got someone like a Kendrick who's already popular, when you got artists like that who are already popular or in the mainstream, then we look at those guys as the leaders of the non-ignorant music per se, you know, the non-ratchet per se. Like, we look at those guys as, okay, you are the guys that give us what we need as far as hip hop, you know, content. Y'all could spit bars. Yeah, you could do the ignorant stuff too if you don't want to, but you can bounce back and do everything else that's needed to be done. So yeah, it's those guys are in the tough spots, and someone like Andre 3000, you know, I think also because Big Boy has had solo albums also, it also further puts the microscope on him, like, okay, where's your solo album? You know, we want to hear from you. We got the player gangster over here. We got that. But we want to hear from you, you know, why you chose to wear those type of clothes or wear that wig. Why'd you decide that lifestyle? You know, what is your belief system? You know, we want to know more about you and, you know, those bars and what made you think that way, say that. You know, some of the things you said is just really thought-provoking, you know, and like, wow, you know, he made a record with Kanye when in regards to yeah, and that record was just like wow, you know, the things he was saying and, you know, the content, the way he chose to rhyme and the rhyme schemes on the content, man, what he was saying was just, you know, like, wow. And that is what I think our generation is missing now from hip hop. We want that content to make you say, wow, like, what made you think of that? Like, what made you say that? Like that is unreal. Like you put some thought into it. Like, why did you choose that word specifically? Because that word means two things. Like, how did you make that go here? Why'd you make it rhyme like this? Why'd you slur that last word to make it rhyme with the other word to make it do this, to give it that meaning? Like, hip hop was always that, you know, made you like dig in there.
Wordplay and
it
wittiness.
And it also helped you to learn so much. Like, why did you do that? Like, how did your brain work for you to say it like that and do it like that? And for it to mean three different things. And for you to make a point on each of those three things in that one line. How did you do that? With these double and triple entendres.
Crazy, bro. And I think, you know, again, for him, man, the culture need him. Andre 3000, the culture needs you, bro. Yeah. I ain't gonna hold it. I know you may not, I know you want to be normal. And I think we've all been there. I think the pressure of the music industry kind of just makes us all feel like we want to be normal at times. We want to be able to just enjoy a meal with our family without the fanfare and all of the extra hoopla and shit that comes along. And, you know, you don't want to be with the pressure of having the, you know, the biggest chain and the biggest car and house.
And the violence in hip hop too.
Yeah, it's a turnoff.
It's a turnoff. Yeah.
You know, and, you know, so a lot of that, I get it, man. I do. But it's kind of like, you know, this hip hop culture, black culture is on our shoulders. You know, and but they say if a few good men don't lead, and evil runs the whole thing. So a lot of us can't sit back and just don't do nothing. If we sit back and we ain't gonna do nothing, then it's gonna all go to shit. You know, we all can't take the position that we just want to be normal, and let all the people that want to be ignorant and arrogant take over. And you're gonna have all types of weird shit happening, like in the first half of the podcast. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta have some people that's gonna stand up to this shit. Like, I ain't gonna hold nobody. Like, you gotta have some people that's gonna say, nah, we gonna do it like this. Have, you know, it's gonna be dope, and at the same time, it's gonna be thought-provoking. At the same time, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna have all of these. It's gonna encompass all these things and give us some fucking balance. And I think that is what's totally absent right now. Is the fucking balance, man. Everything is just, it's either hard left or hard right. Like
why do I gotta dig and search for one kind of music, but the other kind of music just stays in the front for guys? I don't gotta dig. I don't gotta dig for action music. It's right there. I don't. Yeah, I gotta dig for that.
They ain't stopping it. Yeah. And they're gonna say it's the algorithm. whatever that means.
Yeah.
Quick blurb, right? These episodes, of course, are brought to you by our ebooks. If you haven't gotten them, make sure you get them. It's the Songwriter's Guide to Song Registration, the Musician's Guide to Music Copyrights, the Musician's Guide to Music Publishing, and the Ultimate Guide to Forming Your Own LLC. Those are out now. Make sure that you're supporting. In other news, as of Friday, the CEO of OpenAI, Sam Altman, has been fired by the board for not being candid in some sort of situation. I don't know what the hell that means. All I know is I'm big on AI, and I feel like it's going to change the world. I feel like we're looking at like really the invention of the internet again. Like that's how I feel about it.
Mm-hmm.
And this type of shift is it's really a bad blow. So as of right now, I heard there are reports that they're trying to get him back on some Steve Jobs type shit. So interesting thing to talk about. And I know this is at the end of our podcast, but you know, if you're not utilizing AI, I don't know what to tell you, but that is the future. It's going to be the future of music. You see musicians and YouTube are adding AI voice models for music.
Their likeness. Their likeness are going to be able to be, so if you want to use them, companies want to use them for commercials or whatever the case may be, they may be able to just use their likeness, you know, type in a script for them to speak, and it'll just generate. And so you'll have like a Snoop Dogg kind of talking about something. Interesting enough, you know, this week they said he's giving up weed or smoke.
I heard that. I heard that. I saw that that he was gonna stop smoking.
Well, the post is a little. It says about giving up smoke, but I really want a clear definition of what he's really saying, because he didn't say he's giving up weed. Did he say giving up marijuana? I don't recall seeing anything saying that. He said smoke. He didn't say smoking. He said smoke. So I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. It feels a little weird, because we've all grown Big Uncle Snoop. We've known him that for his entire career.
There's a lot of talk about the integrity of today's marijuana.
Okay. Once the government got involved.
Yeah. They're saying that there are a lot of things that are being introduced in today's marijuana, and they're saying not only can it be more destructive, maybe more addictive. So you have some people who are, if they can't control where it comes from, they're opting not to use at all. Which I think is smart. They're saying that there's stuff there. They were saying that there was something that was, I was reading some reports about some synthetic marijuana that may be coming out of China that may be creating that type of situation. But I don't know. I don't know if that's what's making people start to want to stop smoking. I don't know if that's the situation.
Yeah, because even Meek Mill jumped on the bandwagon and said that he was gonna consider that as well. So, for all our smokers who listen to this podcast, man, just again,
be careful out there.
Careful of what you're putting into your body when it comes to that. They already messing with the food, so the next best thing is that as well. So, keep your ear to the streets on that one.
Outside of that, bro, I'm looking at some different things. It looks like people are making a whole bunch of money. Warner is basically saying a $6 billion in annual earnings for 2023. Everybody's doing big numbers, but those streaming numbers look like shit, right? Streaming royalty numbers look like shit, but everybody else making big money. It's crazy. At the end of the day, that's what it is, folks. Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast. Make sure you're following us at www.arkatechbeats.com. Look out for our new membership platform. And our membership platform, folks, calling it the Insider Membership. It's the Arkatech Beatz Insider Membership Program. Basically, what we're offering is exclusive, unlimited access to our library of music so that you can use those in your productions. We're also offering, any of our resources in terms of ebooks, tutorials, any templates that we use for business, etc. And we're also offering the feedback, and that's all for one price for members. That is a monthly subscription, but at the same time, you'll have access to us and being able to get that true feedback, that artist development, and be able to make sure that your music is going to be able to be top notch. Any parting words for the folks out here in TV land?
That just protect your brand. Just protect your brand
At all costs.
Yeah, be mindful of what's going on. Get the information you need to make the right decisions for your brand and for yourself. Don't put yourself in potential bad situations that can hurt you or hurt your brand.
Yeah.
That includes certain deals that you make, because you could spend so much time and money getting your brand to a position, to compete. And then, all it takes is one allegation, one misdoing, one piece of bad information, one misquote, and you could lose everything you've worked so hard for. So
Honestly, it'd be crazy.
Yeah, so really just, set up certain rules, certain parameters, and trying to figure out how you move. Certain people do that, but we don't do that. Certain people behave and get involved in certain things. Nah, I don't do that, or we don't do that. You got to stand out by not involving yourself in certain things. Yeah, it's cool if they do that, but we don't do that, because there's a certain things that we do. We have a certain set of morals and values associated with our brand. So there's a certain thing. Yeah, that's cool if y'all do that, but we're going to stay over here. We're going to do this.
You got to stand on something, man. You're going to fall for everything.
And by doing that, you kind of alleviate, some of the BS, some of the nonsense that happens when you start doing all the other things. So protect your brand at all costs. Stand for something. Have a moral compass. And you'll be all right.
Arkatech Beatz Music Business Podcast, folks. So until next time, we want everybody to be safe out there. Peace.
Peace.